Jai Hind to all. I am Dr. Saroj Kushwah, Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering of- from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today, I'll discuss or cover the operating system fundamental, which is very important for the beginners or the students before start or cover the topic of operating system. What do you first one is the operating system? What do you mean by operating system? Operating system is a interface between computer hardware and software. And operating system, it is a software that performs all the basic tasks like file management, memory management, process management, device management, handling input output, controlling peripheral devices such as this drivers and printers. Some popular operating systems include DOS, disk operating system, DOS, Linux, Windows, Android, etc. Definition. An operating system is a program that acts as an interface between the user and the computer hardware and control the execution of all kinds of programs. History of operating system. The operating system first developed in the late 1950s to manage tape storage. The General Motor Research Lab implemented the first operating system in early 1950 for their IBM 701. In the mid 1960s, operating system started to use disk. In the late 1960s, the first version of Unix OS was developed. The first operating system built by Microsoft was DOS. It was built in 1981 by purchasing the 86 DOS software from a settled company. The present day popular operating system Windows first came to existence in 1985 when a GUI was created and paired with MS-DOS. Market share. Mac OS 4% operating means Mac operating system 4%, iOS 16%, Android 38%, Windows 40%, and others 2%. Operating system these are the operating system functions. Following are some of the important operating system functions. I have covered this all the operating system deeply in my other videos. You can see from there the memory management, processor management, device management, file management, security, control over system performance, job scheduling, error detecting, and coordination between other software and users. I have covered I have covered memory management, process management, device management, and file management in my means other videos. I'll cover the rest of the function means security, control over system performance, job scheduling, error detecting, and coordination between software and user. The other important activity. The following are the some of the important activity that an operating system perform. Security by means of password and similar other technique, it prevent unauthorized access to programs and data. Second one is control over system performance. It recording delays between request for services and response from the system. Job accounting means keeping track of time and resources used by various jobs and users. And next one is the error detecting it means production of terms, traces, errors, messages, and other debugging and error detecting acts. Coordination between other software and the user. Coordination and assignment of compiler, interpreter, assembler, and other software to the various users of the computer operating system. Types of operating system. There are different types of operating system. Simple batch operating system, multi-programming batch operating system, network operating system, distributed operating system, real-time operating system, multitasking operating system, multi-programming operating system, time sharing operating system. There are different type of operating system. First, I'll discuss batch processing. Batch processing means batch processing operating system. In a batch processing is a technique in which an operating system collects the programs and data together in batches before process is started. Means all the process is divided into different batches. An operating system does the following activity related to the batch processing. The operating system defines a job which has predefined sequence of commands, programs, and data as a single unit. The operating system keeps the number a job in memory and execution then without any manual information. Job are processed in order of submission, that is first come first serve fashion. When a job completed its execution, its memory is released and the output for the job get copied into an output spool for later printing or processing. Here, this is the operating system, and these are the job which we have to which is executed by the which will be executed. The first operating system divided the job into a different batches. Then after dividing the different batches, it go to the CPU for execution. Advantages. Batch processing take much of the work of the operator of the computer. Increased performance as a new job get started as soon as the previous job is finished without any manual intervention. Disadvantage is difficult to debug program. A job could entire an infinite loop. Due to lack of protection scheme, one batch job can affect pending job. Multitasking. Multitasking is when multiple jobs are executed by the CPU simultaneously. While switching between them, switches occur so frequently that the user may interact with each program while it is running. An operating system does the following activities related to multitasking. The user gives instruction to operating system or to a program directly and receives an immediate responses. The operating system handles multitasking in the way that it can handle multiple operations, execute multiple programs at a time. Multitasking operating systems are also known as time-sharing system. These operating systems are developed to provide interactive use of computer system as a reasonable cost. A time-shared operating system uses the concept of operating scheduling and multi-program to provide a user with the small portion of time shared. Here, the operating system doing the multiple tasks in Word, email, and web browser at the same time and execute by the CPU. Multi-programming. Sharing the processor when two or more programs reside in memory at the same time. Sharing multi-programming means sharing the processor. It is multi-programming word connected to the means processor, means sharing the processor by two or more programmer reside in the memory at the same time. Multi-programming assumes a single shared processor. Multi-programming increases CPU utilization by organizing jobs so that CPU always has one to execute. An operating system does the following activities related to multi-programming. The operating system keeps several jobs in memory at a time. This set of jobs is subset of the jobs kept the job pool. The operating system picks and begins to execute one of the jobs in the memory. Multi-programming operating system monitor the state of all the active programs and system resource using memory management program to ensure that the CPU is never idle unless there are no job to process. Here is the main memory. Here are different programs, program A, program B and program C waiting for the CPU. Then this is the execution in process between the CPU. Writing in output data to the secondary storage. Jobs in multiple programming. Advantages. The advantages of multi-program is high and efficient CPU utilization. In basic task of multi-programming is the means utilization of CPU, means more and more utilization of CPU, means not any time CPU will be idle condition. It's all the time CPU is working or execute any of the process. User feels that many programs are allocated CPU almost simultaneously. Means user allocate means multiple programs at the same time to the CPU, means or CPU works simultaneously for different users request. The disadvantages of multi programming is CPU scheduling is required. Here, first of all, it is very important to schedule every process to accommodate many jobs in memory, and memory management is required. Multi-processing operating system in multi processing parallel programming is achieved. There are more than one processors present in the systems which can execute more than one process at a time at the same time. This will increase the throughput of the system. In multiprocessing, several processors execute. Processors in collaborations. You and even split a processor into parts that run in parallel. Since several processors work concurrently, more tasks are completed faster. Multiprocessing enhances the speed at which the system executes since tasks. The processors minimizing the waiting period for processor. If one processor is faulty, the other will continue running, hence enhancing system reliability. Such as operating system is suited for high computationally intensive environments needing high processing power, for example scientific simulations, real-time data processing and server environments. Here the working of multiprocessor system means the CPU one, it is directly access the process from the main memory. Input output also request to the CPU one and input output unit. Then input output processors directly connect to the main memory, and the CPU2 also working or accessed by the input output processor or input output unit. At the same time, there are multiple input-output operators and the CPUs communicate directly communicate with the main memory and executing different tasks. Advantages of multiprocessing operating system. There are different advantages of multi-processing operating system. Increased reliability means because multiple processors are present, if one fail, other may take over it, thus stabilizing the system. Second, increased throughput. More job can be processed at the same time by these multiple processors than by the single processor, thereby increasing the speed of executions. Efficient resource utilization, it acts more productively upon the utilization of resources like CPU, memory, and input of devices. Parallelism. Many processes can run parallelly, which increase the speed of execution of a large extent. Scalability. At the workload increases, more processors can be added to enhance performance. Disadvantages of multi-processing operating system. Complexity. There is a rise in complexity of system while dealing with the number of processors and proper distribution of tasks. Increased cost. Hardware equipment added the processing system increase their cost. Communication overhead. Generally, communication among the processors results in overhead and provide the slight reduction in efficiently. Software compatibility problems. Generally, most software is not designed and properly with multiprocessor systems. Real-time system. The real-time system, there are the another operating system, real-time system. Real-time system are usually dedicated and embedded system, and operating system does the following activity related to real-time system activity. In such system, operating system typically read from the react to sensor data. The operating system must guarantee response to event within fixed period of time to ensure correct performance. In a means every process is given the fixed period of time to ensure the correct performance. Real time, here the real time operating system, there is a chip and there is a device driver. When device driver is given the proper time for true by the device. Advantages of real time operating system. Real time applications are quite easy to design, develop and implement under the real-time operating system. Maximize utilization of devices and system in a real-time operating system. Fast response to events. High reliability in the performance of time-critical operations. Strictly scheduling ensures the predictable executions of tasks. Disadvantages of real-time operating system. First one, real-time operating system are very expensive to design. Second one is the real-time operating system are very resource intensive and consume critical CPU cycle. And third one is the less multitasking support. Next, lack adaptability of new functions. And last one is the edge time, it demands a specific hardware. Distributed environment. A distributed environment refers to a multiple independent CPUs or processors in a computer system. An operating system does the following activities related to distributed environment. The operating system distributes computation logic among several physical processors. The processors do not share memory or clock. Instead, each processor has its own local memory. The operating system manages the communications between the processors. They communicate with each other through various communications line. This is the types of view of distributed system. Here is the local area network connected to a different system, and the gateway connected to the LAN, and there are host which is connected to the CPU and another host. Advantages of distributed operating system. A distributed operating system offers resource sharing This is fault tolerant system. Scalability is achieved and easily new node can be added to the system. Distributed task execution improves its performance. Parallel processing helps in increasing the speed of job execution and enhancing efficiency in getting result. Disadvantages of distributed operating system. Protocol overhead might control computation task. Term computation cost. The managing of system is complex as it work in distributed. Security may prove difficult on multiple node. The system highly depends on network stability for it to run hashless. Time sharing operating system. A time sharing operating system allow multiple users to access the system concurrently, and this occurs by allocating a small time slice or quantum to each task. First, it's scheduling. The operating system use scheduling algorithm in the order to allow a particular block of CPU time referred to a time slice. And second one is a multiple programming. The TSOS use multiprogramming where several programs are resident in memory at any given time. This allows several programs to be executed simultaneously. Context switching. Whenever the CPU needs to switch to another task, the operating system save the state of current process and then switch to the next process.